I knew something was wrong the moment the nurse glanced at me, then at my wife, then back at the newborn, as if connecting dots in her mind that I wasn't supposed to see. A flicker, quick, apologetic, almost frightened. I felt it. A shift in the room's temperature, a tightening in my chest, not from joy or awe, just silence. My wife didn't look at me, not once, not even when they placed the child in her arms and told her he looked just like his father. Her fingers trembled, her smile cracked. The nurse excused herself too quickly, and suddenly the world around me faded into a dull, low hum. I didn't understand it yet, but my body did. Something ancient and cruel coiled itself around my spine, whispering that I had just stepped into a story I didn't remember agreeing to be part of. Later, in the car ride home, her voice cut through the silence like a blade. "Don't start," she said, as if she had read my mind, as if the thought had already been born inside her long before it ever reached me. I didn't respond, because I knew, instinctively, that a single word from me would shatter whatever lie she was struggling to hold together. But that moment, that tiny crack in her composure, it was the beginning of the end. And 6 weeks later, when I walked back into that house with 2 envelopes in my hand, that same crack would swallow her whole. It started with little things she assumed I was too distracted, too exhausted, too trusting to notice. A locked phone screen angled away from me, messages she deleted faster than they arrived, late-night showers long after I was already in bed, and the way she flinched when I mentioned the baby's nose, his eyes, his hair, none of which looked like mine, none of which looked like hers either. But she insisted they did, too quickly, too emphatically, as if rehearsed. I wasn't suspicious at first. I was confused, off balance, like someone had rearranged familiar objects in my home just enough that nothing sat where it used to. But denial is a comfortable cage. I tried to live inside it for as long as I could. Until one night, after weeks of pretending not to see what was unraveling in front of me, she snapped. I mentioned a paternity test, softly, gently, hoping she would laugh, call me paranoid, kiss it away. Instead, she erupted. Toxic, controlling. How dare you? She threw the word trust at me like a weapon. Then, she threw me out. Me, for daring to look too closely at a truth she couldn't bear to keep hidden anymore. As I stood outside our home that night, the front door slamming behind me, I felt something inside me shift. Not break, no. Breaking implies fragility. This was something cleaner, sharper, a severing. I moved through the next weeks like a ghost wearing my body. Polite, calm, predictable. On the surface, I was the picture of a remorseful husband giving his wife space. Inside, I was reconstructing the timeline of a life I apparently never truly lived. I ordered the paternity test myself. 2 swabs, one from me, one from the child she said was mine. I didn't tell her. I simply waited, quietly, methodically, the way a man does when he already knows the answer, but needs the world to confirm it so he can finally breathe again. Then I hired the investigator, a man with the disposition of a locked vault. He didn't ask questions. He just nodded, took down a few dates, a few names, and then he followed her, documented her, captured her routines, her detours, her friendship with my brother, always explained away as childhood closeness, harmless nostalgia, nothing that needed a second glance. The investigator's updates came in short messages, sparse, efficient, cold, and each one sliced away another piece of the man I used to be. But I didn't react, not externally, not even when he hinted that the connection between them hadn't begun recently, that it wasn't an accident, that the timing lined up too perfectly. Instead, I waited, breathing slowly, thinking clearly. Every truth needs its proper unveiling. Every betrayal deserves its stage. Every liar eventually runs out of places to hide. The DNA results arrived in a thin white envelope that felt heavier than anything I'd ever held. I didn't open it immediately. I let it sit on the table beside me for hours, like a loaded gun pointed at the past. When I finally tore it open, I didn't rush. I read each line, each percentage, each conclusion. The world didn't fall apart. It simply aligned itself with the coldness already sitting inside my chest. Not mine, not a chance, not even close. A clean sever, a statistical execution. 2 days later, the investigator placed the second envelope in my hand. Photos, dates, receipts, my wife's face, my brother's hands. Time-stamped truths, undeniable, indestructible. I said nothing. Words were pointless now. There was only the reveal. When I walked back into the house, our house, she froze. I didn't yell, I didn't accuse, I didn't demand. I simply set the first envelope on the table, then the second. Her eyes flicked to them, then to me, then back to them. And I watched the color drain from her face in real time, like someone pulling the plug on her entire existence. "No," she whispered, a denial born from panic, not innocence. She reached for the envelopes with trembling fingers. I didn't stop her. The moment she saw the photos, her lips parted, air caught in her throat, and she folded in on herself like a collapsing structure. I stayed still. Perfectly still, the eye of the storm she had summoned herself. "I can explain." "You already have." My voice wasn't angry, it wasn't raised, it was final. She sobbed, begged, fell apart so violently she shook the table. But I didn't move. Not toward her, not away. Just watched the truth dismantle her one breath at a time. When her crying finally dulled into broken whispers, I stood, not to comfort her, not to console or condemn, just to leave. There was nothing left for me there. No marriage, no child, no family. Just ruins wearing familiar faces. At the door, she called my name, small, shattered, desperate. I didn't turn, didn't offer mercy, didn't offer rage. Only the truth she had earned. "It was never me you were lying to," I said. "It was yourself." Then I stepped out, closed the door behind me, and felt nothing. Absolutely nothing.